Hey guys, Video Psych here. Now, you guys kind of remember that recent OK Boomer thing? Well, it kind of seems like some people are still doing it to this day. and I've already kind of chatted about, when I was younger and the, recession happening and all that BS, it being hard for, younger generations at the time, from like myself at the time, because back then we were younger. Of course, everybody is a bit younger, right? But you know, the thing is, there's still this trend going on sometimes with the OK Boomer thing. Actually, from time to time, still hear people say OK Boomer sometimes, and I almost forgot about that. But every once in a while, recently, I've actually heard it come up again, and I said to one person, one of my friends from work, who said something like that at one point, is that I just think it's so strange how we could see so many, let's say like in 2020, when there's all these people that were just blaming the virus, aka COVID, on all Asian people that lived here. I mean, lots of the Asian people in America probably haven't even seen a different country. They've been here their whole lives. They are actually American citizens. And there was like groups of people that were just blaming it on Asian people, and especially people like Trump, etc. And yet for some reason there's still this trend of this OK Boomer trend from my generation to generations a bit younger still going on. Now here's the thing: what happened when we were younger was going to happen either way. I mean, with the way things went, especially with the way that the companies, some certain companies in particular, which I won't name off, but they had become corrupt. And what they did is that they got a bit greedy, right? And what they did is that, especially for the housing markets, they, because people at the time, had money. We used to have plenty of money. We used to be able to just spend money like nobody's business. We even used to be able to remember the days of the Hummer guys. I mean, we used to be able. Lots of people used to just be able to buy a $40,000 Hummer, $50,000 Hummer, and then just. I mean, these things are just gas guzzling beasts too. I mean, just wasting money, just waste money like that. And nowadays, we don't have that kind of opportunity to waste money like that. I mean, lots of times until recently, yeah, we're still having trouble with it. Lots of times people are just having a hard enough time just making rent at the place that they live at. But, it's just crazy that to this day, my a lot of people in my generation and a bit younger are trying to blame the boomer, phase, I should call it. The boomer kids. The boomer age. And the thing is, I mean, yeah, there were things that I didn't really like that the boomers did. I mean, for one, they also weren't really making things any easier for, my generation in the past, because here's the thing. Back when, our grandparents went through the depression, right? From my generation. And then from then on, came on, the next generation, of course, which is our parents, my parents. And they had it, I would say, quite a bit easier than, our grandparents did. I mean, not that there weren't, crashes. There were definitely crashes in the stock market, but it wasn't like it was when I was, 18, 19 years old. And when it really started hitting in 2007. And then all these people from the boomer age and maybe a bit younger realized, hey, shit, we could actually lose our jobs, you know? And so, there's always the common theme of the younger generation being lazy, right? Well, at the time, they were using that as an excuse to not give my generation, that who was just graduating at the time, a job. They were just saying shit to us, like, and me, like, my generation was the laziest or the dumbest generation, blah, blah. And they were just coming up with all these excuses to not give us jobs and, you know, make it so that we could learn how to do these jobs, etc. While at the same time, they were overselling us to us that we needed to go to college, like we actually had to go to college. And so all these people from my generation went to college, and then suddenly we're like all in debt on top of it. And so it was just it was just a mess at the time. And it's crazy that 10 years later now, even to this day, there are still people that from that time period that are still having a hard time because of what happened during the recession. It was seriously that fucking bad. It couldn't have come at an even worse time at the time, at least for the time period. I mean, like I said, I was just coming out of high school when the recession started. And then suddenly it's like I couldn't get a job because of the fucking recession. I was just branching out, trying to get moved out of my house, and it was very difficult. And the only reason why I managed to move out of my house as early as I did, among many people of my age, was because started going to Temp Associates is what they're called, of course. I'm not going to name off the one I went to, but I went to a temp agency to get a job so I can start actually getting experience. Because even if I gave a good interview, they would not fucking hire me. They would just keep on coming up with excuses. A lot of my friends weren't able to get jobs at the time either. And the only people that were getting jobs at the time were, people that had connections, pretty much, really. But beyond that, like I was just saying before, I mean, yeah, in a nutshell, it was just shitty at the time. And yet to this day, it just seems like a lot of guys my age from that, era are to this day still not over it. And there is somewhat still this okay boomer phase that still hasn't completely gone away. And the thing is, if if people hadn't learned it by 2020, 21, is that just blaming something on another generation or just whatever, just blaming it on something else doesn't help a jack shit. It doesn't help a damn thing. Just blaming your situation on a different generation isn't going to help anything, even though at times they didn't exactly make it any easier on us, because, and the thing is, if you were in that same situation where you have been isolated at your same job for, let's say, 30 years, 20 years, something like that, and then suddenly your job was at stake, you're going to also think, holy shit, like this job that I love, that I've been working at for 20 plus years is suddenly at stake. I don't know what to do. I've been doing this for so damn long that I don't know what else to do with my life. And what happens is, when that happens, is that people freak out. They don't know what to do. And even if they do something about it, it doesn't really seem to matter much. And then next thing you know, you're blaming shit on your other generations. Next thing you know, you're doing really selfish things just to keep yourself up, because you're just that desperate at that point. You've never been through something like this before. You don't really have any, survival tactics to get through something. And so the only survival tactic that you have is to keep your job. And that's just what ends up happening sometimes. And so you just start blaming it on other shit all the damn time, But yeah, again, people of my generation and a bit younger, they really do need to stop blaming on what happened in the past on Boomer because I know it's just my throat here. Sorry about that. All right, like I was saying, yeah, like they really do need to stop blaming it on the Boomer age because it just really isn't helping anything. And if anything, all it's doing really is just making life more stressful, especially at this point. And I just don't really see any benefit from it, even if it was in some way true. You know what I mean? And, if let's say our parents fail, that's also going to be something that's, going to be on our shoulders all of a sudden. And then, eventually it's going to be on our shoulders anyway. But, it needs to be a bit of more of a process to be put on our shoulders instead of it just being shoved on our shoulders, if you get my points, all of a sudden. And with that being said, I mean, if of course you want to talk more about this, comment below. But I've, in a nutshell, said what I've said, or what I was gonna say. Ugh, I need to work my words sometimes, but I'll just go on to the next thing, and I will hopefully get to see you guys by next week. Bye.